So, homosexuals, come on. We did so good today. There are going to be some really time-consuming days where you're going to tell yourself 1,000 times, I don't have time, or I'm not going to be able to do what I want because life be lifing, and, I just simply didn't have the time to do it. I couldn't commit the way that I usually do, and thus I am going to go less hard. That is a stupid excuse. There is always going to be a way to persevere throughout your day. Now, mind you, today, for example, was purely my own fault, and I planned on it to be this way. The football game was happening. Homies wanted to hang out. I'm going to take the day that I have off of work especially, because I don't get those often, to hang out with my homies, Because that time is invaluable to its own extent, just like the gym. Because I know that I can do both, especially on a day when I don't have work. I can see the homies, have a great time, be with my loved ones, and then go to the gym and just work out twice as hard that I'm used to make up for the time that I do not have to go at my own pace. Now, it's always great to go through whatever you're doing in the day at your own pace, to do it to your own extent, your own potential, But truly, if you're going to sit there and tell me that you ran out of time in the day, or you have no time in your life to do something that you say you really want to do, I say bullshit. It's not that you don't have time, it's just not a priority. One of the biggest and hardest things to figure out in your own personal daily life, because I get it, life is fucking hard. Life is unforgiving. But to appreciate all of life, we must appreciate the suffrage, the time constraints, the hard work, and the days where we may not be able to go as hard as we want, but we go as hard as we need, as hard as we deserve to go, So even though I got to the gym with less than 2 hours on the longest workout of the week, because it was clean and jerk, front squat, bench press, there is a way to make it work. You just have to think outside the box and work outside of your typical constraints, Like for today, it was I did a yo-yo clean all the way to the ground. That felt really good for my low back, really good third pull activation, getting as vertical as possible through the hips. Really strong core. I don't know where it came from. I guess I just trained extremely optimally yesterday, or just did good by myself to not just jump back into a heavy PR day and take my time getting back into a deload and then restarting the program since I got body slammed. Yeah, my core is peaked right now, and it's day 2. That's awesome. That shows that doing the 3 attempts only type, workouts every day, where instead of just making big jumps and just, failing if I fail, the moment it starts feeling really heavy, I have to go by 10-pound jumps, and I can only do 3 attempts. But also, vice versa, I cannot do more than those 3 working sets. I'm trying to emulate comp. I'm trying to get that consistency, while also, if there's more left in the tank, I have room for next time to grow. You can't max out every single day. So the clean and jerk went beautifully. Had a great time talking to a homie. My low back was super flared up because I just was taking no rest. I was stressed about the time, trying to go really quickly, not breathing. Took a solid 5 minutes. Met a new homie. I tell you guys all the time, if you are moving too fast, moving too stressed, you got to stop yourself. It doesn't matter if it's not as perfect as you want it to be. It doesn't matter if you're not going to the highest number you want to go to. You must take a minute to relax. You must take a minute to get your shit together so that you can lift properly, so that you can lift the way that your body is meant to without hurting yourself. That is what it's all about. And man, let me tell you. It feels so good to say that I was good at front squats for once. It is so rare. Front squats are my kryptonite lift. And I can tell you that it's my anatomy's fault all day long. It is definitely, to an extent, not helpful because I have long legs and long arms, and my torso is okay, but I can't sit in a front squat like I do a back squat. You know, my upper back isn't as strong. I cannot flex my hips out the way I do on a front squat than a back squat, because if I go too wide on the front squat, my knees hurt. So I kind of have to have a semi-butt wink. And I know it looks like a really deep butt wink compared to what I do on my back squat. It doesn't feel like I'm butt winking. I'm holding my hips properly. I'm not letting it fall into itself. So it's okay. The power, the absolute ego and pride that comes with being able to do not only the first working set, but each working set beyond the first one and your top set, like, confidently, with zero stress of missing, that's different. Because front squats, especially the first week, you know I only do a top triple this week, but I was doing pause reps to really, emphasize the core and the quad activation, have a really nice stable hip hold in the bottom of the squat. I've been getting a lot better at, flexing my upper back more vertically so that I don't fall into it as much when it gets heavy, that kind of thing. 335 for 3 pause squat is not, I don't know if it's a PR or not. I don't think I've ever done that weight for pause reps like that, but it's more so the fact that this is supposed to be the easy week. This is supposed to be I'm just getting into it, I'm feeling it out, I'm good. And the fact that I felt it out with weight that I typically run from or feel anxious about is awesome, because it's a lot of it is taking it in your hand in the moment, not allowing yourself the excuse to postpone when you know you have it in you. Because I was tired. I was dog tired. I'm not taking any rest. I'm moving through everything. I got an hour to do front squat and bench after my clean and jerks. I typically am in the gym for near 3 hours on this day, and I had about an hour and a half to get everything done. And to squat that efficiently on my front rack position is amazing. It is spectacular. There's no other way to describe it. Bench press was not as hype as the rest. Not because I didn't go hard and not because I didn't do the best I could. I crushed it, and I wanted to try something a little bit new that I'll give some more attention probably on the next cycle. I wanted to do pause reps in the sticking point. Normally I'll either pause at the bottom or halfway down. I wanted to pause on the ascension this time through the sticking point, because for me, the bench always gets stuck right halfway through the push off my chest, and that's where my elbows start to flare. Holding that position there and being able to relock it back in. Did 295 for a top triple. I couldn't do 3 working sets. I don't know if I would have done 275 to 295 or 295 to 315, but I took virtually no rest between each set, and my arms were getting wobbly noodly by the end of it. So I put in the good work, and the gym closed the moment I finished that set. So I didn't really have a choice whether I wanted to or not. But again, despite the constraints, I made it work. I got passionate. I got fucking excited. And I not only got myself excited, I uplifted other people, even though if, me before going to the gym would be like, hey, that's not typically enough time. You're probably not going to be able to work out that hard. I took it one weight at a time, appreciated every fucking second, and had one of the best workouts I've had in weeks. That's awesome. That is awesome. And I'm technically still recovering from getting thrown. That's awesome. I ran into one of my homies on the way out the door, and he's telling me like, oh, I fucked up. I started smoking again. Like, I don't want to feel this unproductive. I don't want to be a loser in life. I don't want to let this overtake who I am. And I looked at him and I'm like, dude, you already come in here as much as I do. If you're disciplined in the gym, you can be disciplined in fucking anything. Because the gym is one of the hardest things to be disciplined through, because you never make progress all the time. In fact, it's more rare that you make actual visual and statistical progress. And you're always hurting through it all. You're pushing through the pain so that you can see the results after. The lifting part sucks. If you could just do the top set without any warm-up every single day, everybody would be in the fucking gym. But that's not how it works. You've got to eat shit and enjoy and try to appreciate to the highest ability those warm-ups, you know? And I told him he told me, he was like, you know, I'm really trying to lock in. I'm going to get on my grind next week and it's going to be great. And I'm like, why next week? Why? And he was like, oh, well, there's some plans already made with these guys I hang out with, and I don't know, that's some bullshit. And I'm not trying to put anybody down by that, but if you're going to sit there and give yourself an excuse to not be the best version of yourself that you want to be right now, then you're never going to be able to make progress in the present, you know? Because the moment you take that week to hang out with those people, they're going to have another plan the next day, and the next week, and the next month. You'll always say, oh, well, it's just the one day, I'll be all right. And if you truly want to quit, then you should just stop right now. I know it's easier said than done. I'm not saying it's just you poof, you're good. By all means, no. It takes a lot of consistency, and then you get the discipline, and then you can be happy about it. It's a big progress, or it's a big process. But if you don't start today, when are you going to start? You know, the longer you wait to start, the longer it takes to become consistent, especially the older you get. Because habits really ingrain hard the older you get, because you become less influential, you know? There's a lot less personal individuality that's going to come of you throughout your 20s versus your childhood, you know? And I was like, man, start now. Get ahead of it now. Because if you start now and then you'll look on yourself next week or next month or next year, you're going to be like, God, what would have happened if I didn't stop? And I was open with him. I know it's not the same, but one of my old habits, because I've been through the drinking and smoking binge. I got over that, which was really, really good for me. That's when I really started taking weightlifting seriously and got over my FOMO. But I told him, I was like, I bit my nails for the first 20 years of my life, you know? Bad, like to bleeding. I think it was a form of control, maybe along OCD type stuff. I don't know. But the reasoning and the why is not so much what matters. You know, it can make people feel a bit more comfortable and, you know, rational about what they're going through. But the reason and, you know, why you're doing it, I think matters less than what do you want to progress through by stopping that habit, you know? What, like, true desire and goal and then further long-term dream do you have that's going to keep you consistent enough and, you know, prioritize it enough to want it to be a priority, you know? You can't just decide something's going to happen. You've got to make it a priority in your day. You have to give yourself clear and concise and reasonable goals that you know you can reach. And then you have to have long-term dreams that may not be attainable, but you don't expect whatsoever. It's just something that you can chase to have something further beyond your goals for the super long term, you know? I always tell you guys the weights don't matter, because they truly don't. In the end of it all, the weights are not going to be what matters. I care about showing up every day. If I was handicapped or completely disabled, I would still want to believe that I'd be in there every day doing my best that I could, regardless of what weight I pick up. Because I asked him, I was like, the guy I was talking to, I was like, do you ever see me miss the gym? He was like, only when you're horribly injured. And I'm like, that's fucking right. Because I don't want to be out of the gym unless I have to be. And then if you get body slammed like I did, or if you injure yourself, take that as a sign and take the break. You earned it at that point. Whether it was your fault or not, you have to recover at your body's pace. You can't just decide to be better. But if you're fine and you have the passion, you have the discipline to want to do something to better yourself, surround yourself with the people who are going to get you to do that and uplift you to do that, motivate you to do that. One of my closest homies go out all the time. And that's not a problem. But I think everybody gets to a point in their life where they drink and they smoke and they party so much, and then they eventually find that one friend group that feels so much better to hang out around, because you don't need to be drunk for it. You don't need to be high. You don't need to be in this crazy loud environment. You can just be at someone's house. No one needs to even talk to each other. It's just being surrounded by the people you know that love you and that are going to uplift you, that make it to where drinking and partying stops being a priority, because it just medicates the short-term stress people have and nullifies the passions that they could have right now. But anywho, physically, easily a 9.5. Like, holy shit. Honestly, I'm very happy for it, and you can't what if yourself. Like, who knows what it would have happened if I'd come earlier. It could have been worse, could have been better. Who knows? Doesn't matter. I did the best that I could in the time constraint that I had today. I have no idea how crazy I would have gone if I had more time. But again, I only think this way because of hindsight. Because I did well, I like to imagine I had more in me. But likewise, because I gave it the time it needs to grow beyond today, when I come in next week for these technique and conditioning days, oh, buddy, I am so confident in throwing 315 on my technique days next week. That's crazy that 315 is getting easy. That's awesome. Mentally, 9.6. Couldn't be happier. Just strolling through life. And I don't say that to say that my life is easy. By no means. I actually had a moment today where I realized that I went negative for the first time on one of my paychecks without having a big bill come up. And I was like, damn, that don't feel very fucking good. And it's partially because I've just been loving life so much and just hanging out with so many people that when we go out, we get food. And food is fucking expensive. You can't be eating out every day. But it's the fact that I had no stress and no regret about those spendings because I did it with the people that I love, that motivate me, in the environment that I know that gets me the most excited to live. That's what it's all about. So I'm going to keep doing it and loving it. You know, I watched my friends cry over Alabama losing the game today, and I still had fun. You know, everybody says that it was a shit day. I don't care. I got to hang out with my homies. Great time. That's all I could care about. So I'll be back tomorrow. It's my Olympic recovery day, so it'll be power snatch, power clean and jerk. And truthfully, I don't know what's going to happen this week because I feel peaked. And if it moves, I might be doing the weights block 1 that I did in block 2 last time before I got body slammed. So I don't know what progress is going to come of this cycle. But if there's potential for a max out on my Olympic lifts on block 1, that's insane. That's insanity. Hands down. But I appreciate y'all hearing me yap. You know I love it. Let me know how the lifts and lives been going. Love hearing about it. And I love you guys. I'll be back as always. Thanks for hanging out. See you later. Bye.